Hello everybody, welcome to Emily Kate Made This. I am Emily Kate and I'm coming to you from a very wet and stormy Berlin. It is going to absolutely throw it down outside and all the lights are off. We've unplugged everything because a storm is coming. So not sure it's the most genius of ideas to record this video, but it is going to happen regardless. So this episode is going to be a frog it or marry it, because I have so many projects that are just sitting around that I need to reacquaint myself with, and I feel like if I verbally talk about them, this may help actually resolve the situation. So let's get on with the show. I have potentially just made this camera even more wonky, but you'll be fine, you'll be fine. So I will go in no particular order because I have no idea how old or what's in which of these bags, but let's begin. I'll begin with this one. This is a bag my mum made me from an old tea towel we found in TK Maxx. There's a pattern, that's a good start. Oh, okay. I seem to have printed off every single size on here. Did I? This is the Mangrove tea. I want to have this in my life so badly, but I absolutely hate knitting it. I remember I've tried this twice. I tried this with a silk yarn and I've tried this with a cotton yarn. And I don't remember if it was the yarn that was bothering me, but I do know that the silk yarn was really bothering me. But the cotton one I'm not sure. But I just remember not enjoying knitting it. I'm definitely not going to continue this. We have a frog, but I don't believe there's much to frog. I'm now wondering, have I already used this yarn? No, there is. There is. There's a stitch marker from Kari. Hello again. That was short-lived, as was the thunderstorm. The thunderstorm sort of arrived and then just kind of disappeared. And now the builders who are building this car park directly outside my window are back. So we've now replaced thunder and lightning with vehicles and building work. But alas, the show must go on. So this is how far I got on my second round of attempting this. I believe I just did not like knitting the pattern. Usually I like lace, but I've discovered not all lace. So this is not going to continue. Maybe one day in the future I will try the pattern again, but for now, I was just considering as I was looking at this, maybe I could just knit plain all the way up. It'll have a nice little picot, not picot, but like scalloped edge. And then the rest of it can just be plain. Maybe I could do it on my knitting machine. Ooh, ideas are percolating. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, okay. So this was about to be the frog, the first frog of the day, but this might be rescued and turned into a top, just a very different one. I will investigate this and come back to it. Oh, I feel good already. Next bag. Oh, this bag is a bag my mum made me. There's a theme. This is a Merchant & Mills linen and it is lovely. It's very crinkly inside. This is something I tried to be all clever about, but when I first started knitting, I purchased the Knit Stitch projects and Everything was very We Are Knitters focused. I knew nothing about wool, yarn, anything. I just knew I wanted to knit that pattern. It was the first knitting pattern I ever did, and I just continued knitting this person's patterns. So she recommended this We Are Knitters, can't remember what it's called, I'll write it down. This wool is super thick, and I knitted a jumper in it, I knitted a hat in one, and basically I then discovered knitting with such thick needles and thick wool is super painful on my hands. So these needles are 6.5mm, but the pattern I was knitting with this was 10mm, and I had another pattern that needed 15mm needles, and it hurt so much. So I've abandoned this pink one, a blue one, and an orange one for the last 4 years. I decided I would try and make a kind of like a Sophie shawl, but not using the pattern. I have the Sophie scarf. I'm gonna get this all wrong. I have the pattern for that small thin one because my mum purchased that pattern, and I just figured I'd use that to make this like bigger version where it would just get bigger and bigger and bigger and use up all the wool. But I got that far in, I don't even know, probably like 4 days or something, and my hands just hated life. So it's been abandoned, and I really don't know what to do with it because this is really expensive wool. And what do I have here? Aha, here we go. The petite wool. I have basically 2 balls of the blue because I tried to make a hat for my husband, and this wool is superwash and it expands rapidly, and it went from being kind of too big to just being able to pull over his entire head, and probably it would have just gone over my entire body. It was ridiculous. Then I have this really lovely terracotta colour that's never been touched, and I thought I'd make a very cool scarf with this, but I don't know if my hands will ever want to do that. The thing is, I'm not going to, you can't donate to anywhere here in Germany. They don't have charity shops or thrift stores. I could take it to the UK and donate it, but this is like 40–50 euro worth of yarn. So don't really want to do that. I could try and sell it, but who's going to want scraggly bits of like half finished, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. Do you have any ideas? I sometimes think, oh maybe, ooh, I've had an idea. Oh, I don't know how to do it. I've seen that my knitting machine can do a kind of mock weave, but I don't know how. Basically, my knitting machine is a fine gauge knitting machine, so it can't knit things any more than DK. It struggles with DK. It's more like lace to sport weight. But I'm wondering if I could like weave with this. That would be a very random weaving project, but I could weave with it. Ooh, I'm enjoying this. This is good. This is good. I may turn this into a weaving project and scrap the whole scarf idea. Unless somebody wants to knit me a scarf. That is an idea. I will Google this. So, repurposing, and something wonderful will happen. This is an empty bag. Oh, that's what I was doing that with. Ahaha, this one is definitely a keeper. This one is my flower jumper that I started somewhere in spring, I think. And I've taken a pause for a couple of reasons. The first reason was I suddenly panicked that I won't have enough yarn. But that's really silly because even if I don't, I'm not going to rip it out, so I'm making it anyway. This is how far I have gone. My mum knitted all of this, so I really shouldn't say I got that far. I'm doing this colourwork. I think that was it. I was a bit bothered by how the colourwork looked, and it was kind of puckery. But I know that every other time I've done colourwork it gets puckery, and then it's fine when I block it, so I really shouldn't be worrying about that. But the main thing was the pattern is written as a chart, but there's no numbers. There's no row numbers to go along the bottom, or row numbers to go. There's no row numbers that go up, and there's no stitch numbers that go along, and I changed the stitch count, and I've changed the direction of the knitting because I'm knitting it in the round, and the pattern is designed for knitted flat. So if you read the pattern with the word description, I have to reverse that because I'm obviously not doing it from the purl side, I'm doing it from the knit side, so I had to reverse everything. And then in the chart and in the description, the white is black and the colour is white, and it was completely messing with my head. So my friend did something very fancy on her computer where she swapped the letter B for the letter W on all of it, and I could reverse the chart colours, but I can't print anything because my printer has died. And that's, no, I lie to you. My printer didn't die. I thought it died. Turns out that the toner I have that worked for the last 2 years has now decided I'm not compatible with this machine. I refuse to work. So I looked up to get a new toner, and one new toner is €100 for essentially ink. And I then looked up the printer that my brother has, and that is €112. It's literally cheaper to buy a whole new printer than just to buy, I mean, it's not cheaper, it's €12 more, but, and then when I would need to replace that ink or toner, it's like €40. So I haven't got a printer, so I can't print the chart, and it's difficult to use it on my tablet like I usually do because there are no numbers and the colours are all the wrong way around, and yeah, basically my brain just had a bit of a, I don't want to deal with this, which is the main reason I have paused. But I will be continuing, and I actually thought about doing that today, so we'll see. It is 90% humidity in here, and everything is already sticky, so I'm not sure that I will be doing that today, but I will be continuing. So I'm marrying this one. I have one sleeve. I thought I had 2 sleeves. I was so sure I had 2 sleeves, but apparently no, I just have the one. And I'm looking at this thinking how tiny this looks. But yeah, this is happening. This is a bag that I made with my mum. Aha, another lace and abandoned lace project. This is the Venezia Shawl by Johi Locatelli, and it is a hand-dyed yarn that I bought in Yarn Over Berlin, and oh, I really thought I had, shush phone, my phone is singing to us. I really thought I had got a lot further than this. That's not very far. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not enjoying knitting this at all. And I was thinking about this last night as well. I thought I am really going to knit this today, which is one of the reasons I started this video, because I thought I've got a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about and look at and decide upon, and this is so inappropriate that they're cutting like breeze blocks outside my window right now. I really hope you can't hear that. but this microphone is pretty good. Yeah, I'm not enjoying knitting this because you basically have one chart for this section and then another chart for this section, and then you repeat the chart. And although that's not difficult, I find it very difficult when something is changing every certain amount of rows. I don't remember if it's every row or every fourth row or something. Basically, it doesn't always stay the same, so I always need the charts, but they're on two separate pages of the pattern, so you constantly have to go between something like page 3 and page 9, and it's just not relaxing for me. And I'm just looking at this and thinking how there's really not very much done, and I've got so much more to go, and I don't enjoy doing it. But I know how many hours I've already put into this, so it's really difficult for me to just say, yeah, I'll frog it, because hours of my life have gone into this. But when I look at how much yarn is left, and I have to knit this until I'm halfway through, and then knit it all again, oh, the motivation is so low. And I don't know when I'm going to wear a shawl that's so light. The idea was in my mind, I thought, I will knit this for the summer, you know, when it's a bit cool. We don't really have cool evenings in summer that I would really need to wear wool still. It's 25 degrees, 25.5 degrees in here and 33 outside. And in the evening it will be about 29. And then at night I'm in bed asleep. I don't really need a wool scarf, shawl. And in the winter I need a proper wool shawl. So I think I might actually frog this. I always feel really weird about it because I paid for the pattern, and so I just calculate how much money I've completely wasted when I don't knit the things from these patterns, like €5 here, €7 here, all that money wasted. But equally, this fancy hand-dyed yarn just sitting in a bag for years, that's also a waste, so I think I might frog it. That's happening. This one is covered in yarn. A bag I made a while ago. This is another frog. I know what this is because I've been battling with this one for the last week. So, if you have been watching my channel, I'm going to say for at least a year, you'll know I purchased, no, 2 years, I purchased this beautiful yarn. Look at the colour of this. This is a hand-dyed yarn from Der Fliegende Kiwi? The Flying Kiwi, essentially. She is German, and she was in Berlin. I'm not sure where she lives now. And I purchased this yarn to make the Plant Lady Tea. And I thought this was the most stunning lace ever. I cast on and I went majorly wrong, and I just misread the chart where it had the lines that are something like SSK, and then at a certain part the line went from here to here, and I never saw that it changed from SSK to knit two together or something, and none of my lace things matched. So I ripped it back, and the next time I went to pick it up and do it, I thought, you know, I don't really like this lace pattern anymore. So I'm not doing that, but I really like the golden oak pattern. I will do that, but I was going to change it from being a strappy top to a tee. So I cast that on. As you can see, this, I kid you not, this is about 3 hours of knitting. I know, take that in for a moment. It is, like, I know everybody is different, so some people would just whiz through this lace chart and think it's really easy. I could not get my head around the chart at all. I have done so much lace work, lace knitting, that I always feel like lace just comes quite naturally to me, but I am quite aware now with 3 lace projects that not all lace comes to me. And I'm not enjoying knitting this at all. I sat there about 3 days ago for an hour knitting 1 row. There's about 220 stitches or something here. It was so, not even boring, it was just not relaxing and not fun, and I didn't like it. And I then saw I have to repeat this section another 19 times. I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I have shoved it in a bag again. It's 2 years now in this bag. And I know it won't make sense if I say to you I don't really knit with hand-dyed yarn, because almost like a bunch of this and my last knitting machine project are hand-dyed yarns. That's my point. I have purchased all of these between the last 2 and 4 years and I never used them because either they're too expensive or I started a project, like they're too expensive to use for socks. Finish your sentences, Emily. They're too expensive to use for socks, so I want them to be a nice project. But when I have made a nice project, I don't finish it and it sits in a bag. So I have decided this is going to be frogged again, and I'm going to make something kind of made up but not. I made the Mount Pleasant tea, if you saw my last video. If not, go have a look. I used my knitting machine to knit all the stockinette part, but I used my hands to knit the lace. And I think I'm going to do the same. I'm going to knit a lace section with this and then knit the rest flat on my machine and seam it together at the shoulders, and ta-da, done. Beautiful coloured yarn made into something beautiful that I can actually wear instead of staring at it in a bag going, I really should try knitting that lace. I really should. I won't, but I should. This is changing now. I've already picked out a lace pattern. I'm not sure what it's called. It's something like, I want to say bedstops and broomsticks. Broomstick? I think it's something like broomstick lace. I was recommended something on YouTube, and there's a woman, I will try and link it below if I remember. There's a woman who shows a whole bunch of different lace techniques. I think I might do that with this. That is the plan. So frog, there's a frog. So we have 1 frog, 2 frog. So we've got 2 frogs, 2 repurposings, and one married. Okay. This is a definite marry. I'll show you. This is a German vintage pattern. I'm pretty sure it was from 1949, but I have the same issue that I had with that I'm having with my flower jumper. Is the pattern is written so all this white on the chart is a black cross and all of the colour is white. My brain, ow. Then you have it on the other side and you have the thumb, and for the next glove you have to reverse the pattern so the thumb is on the other side, and obviously still reverse the colours, and oh my brain, it hurt so much. I struggled, so I cast it on and I thought, I'm not getting second mitten syndrome. I'll cast on this as soon as I'm finished here, which I did, but I never even finished the thumb. And oh, all wrapped up. Ooh, I've got this far. So I have started. But then I tried this on and realised it doesn't even fit me. So I just lost all enthusiasm. But then my mum visited and she put it on and said, I'll have them. So you would think that would spur me on, but I'm still a bit disappointed because this is Norwegian wool. This is Hillersvåg Tinder, and I purchased this a couple of years ago to make my mum a jumper, the fox jumper, and I thought I'm going to really enjoy making something for myself with this wool because I really want something in this Hillersvåg yarn, and it was going to be these, and I'm still not going to get them. But my mum will have a lovely matching colour to go with her jumper. It's just, and I know if you're watching this, mother, this is nothing against you, it's against the UK. The UK doesn't really get cold enough to ever actually need to wear gloves this thick, so I'm not even sure how much life they're going to get in the world because the UK is just not that cold. But maybe she can wear them when she's here and I can enjoy them vicariously through her. But nonetheless, they will be finished because I've put so much effort into them. So many brain cells have been lost to this. I have since found an app thing on my computer. Can you get apps on a computer? I have discovered how to invert the colours properly because I did try this before and it did not work. I've tried a different way and I think it's worked. So now I should be able to see at least the correct colours when I'm looking at it. I just have to remember to read it backwards. But it's now been so long, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to just pick up from where I left off. But it's definitely a marry. We're definitely married here. I just need to have some brain space to sit down and figure out what I'm doing. When these are done, I'm going to be so relieved, but at the same time, I wanted a pair for myself, and there's a whole set with socks and hat, and I really want them all. I want to make them all from this magazine. So I have to start again to make my own ones, but without Hillersvåg yarn. Everything is tangled together. That's bad, isn't it? So this project, I'm also marrying this one. Didn't get far. My mum wanted to knit some slippers together, but she was knitting some slippers that I've already made before, the Arctic Starflower slippers, and the same designer designed some other slippers for Christmas gone. And we bought the pattern and we decided we would knit them together. But my mum wanted to finish her other slippers first, and I did not need to knit Rauma wool socks slippers for the summer. So I just helped her cast on because the cast on for the heel is kind of complicated and she just wanted a helping hand. So I literally cast on and then left it. So she has now just last week, I think, finished her other slippers. So when she visits in September, I think we shall be continuing on this. So it's a definite marry. It's just a bit frustrating that I've got it sitting around for, it'll be about 8-10 months of just sitting around. If it gets cold between now and September, I might finish one slipper and cast on the second one with her. Otherwise, yeah, it'll be September when I see it again. And my final project that is just lurking around is, let's see if you can guess. This is going to be my emotional support chicken. my lovely friend in America, Kimberly, sent me the kit for this before I even knew what this mythical chicken even was. I can't remember when I got it. Was it January? I can't remember. I remember the packaging. It was wrapped up in Christmas wrapping, so I'm going with January. But I started it, but it was at a time when I was getting a lot of hand pain, especially with thicker needles, and these are 4.5. I generally knit maximum 3.5mm needles. So 4.5, ooh, they're thick needles. I'm obviously marrying my chicken. I just needed a break in between. So my emotional support chicken will eventually become an actual chicken. I think it was also not as easy as I thought it would be. I expected it just to be a quick flat knit, but actually there's so much shaping and counting and short rows that you do actually need to use your brain. So now I'm aware of this, and I've also just realised where my stitch markers have gone. I've been looking for these everywhere. These were also another present from Anne, so thank you. Yeah, so I'm marrying my chicken. I just can't tell you when the chicken will become alive and available to support me emotionally. I have one more. I have one more. This is the biggest, like, so much so I can't even formulate the sentence to describe how I feel about this. Okay, so for the longest time I have been talking about wanting to knit this chicken cardigan, and I loved this pattern. I loved it as soon as I saw it and I wanted it. But the kit to make it was really expensive and I couldn't buy the kit, but I wanted basically all those colours. So I tried to find a cheaper version of the wool, like the colours, trying to replicate it, and I did find really nice colours. I just don't seem to like it in real life. I honestly do not remember the name of this wool, but it doesn't really matter because the company stopped making it anyway. And stopped selling it anyway. This was all reduced, which is one of the reasons I bought it, and also it was Shetland wool, and I thought, that's exciting. But it doesn't really knit up very nicely, and it didn't block very nicely. And I got into a whole load of gauge dramas, and I already knitted this once and then ripped it out and then started again. And the original idea was, first I wanted to make a vintage chicken cardigan. I wanted to turn the pattern into a vintage-ified version of itself and have a short-sleeved tee with the chickens on the bottom and like a rib section or a moss stitch section that would match the sleeves. And then later I would make a plain cardigan to go over, so it would be like a twin set. Then I decided I would make the actual cardigan later to go with it. And then I decided I would make a vintage version of the cardigan. And then I cast on for the tee. And I got the gauge, just it didn't work, and basically, this is the point, this is actually a good point. It's too thin, it doesn't go over my watch. So it's too tight. It won't really go over my watch very well, and seeing as it's supposed to go over another jumper, like just about, it's supposed to go over another jumper, so it's just too small. It doesn't go up here, which is where it was supposed to. Like it gets stuck there. It does not go further. So my gauge just did not work. I purchased this yarn, which is Donegal Tweed, because I thought that was a perfect chicken cardigan colour. And the gauge worked out nicely with this one. But then, yeah, all of this other one, they did not mix together at all. And I don't think that they look that nice together. And I have blocked this, I've washed it. And yeah, you can see where they meet. And since doing this, I have changed my colourwork technique. And yeah, just to be honest, I just don't like it. I spent hours on this, and this is the second version of this. And I don't think that this yellow goes at all with the rest of it. It's chunky and soft and fluffy, and then the rest is coarse. This one doesn't even hold the rib. It's so floppy that there's no structure. So having the whole neckline in that's not going to work. And I'm just a bit disappointed overall. And now I don't even know if these are particularly my colours, because I have discovered that actually bright pink and purple and bright colours are much more me. So these orangey muted colours, I don't know. And my brain isn't comprehending how to make the chickens in another colour, even though I know it's possible. I was thinking perhaps I could change it to be like this colour. Make a cardigan with this as the main colour. But then of course I've got all of this wool, and what do I do with it now? I can't make that cardigan until I've got wool in that colour, and I don't have wool in that colour, and I'm trying to use the yarn I have. So basically it's going to be frogged. Another frog. It's just I've got a whole bunch of this now that I have to figure out in different colours. I have to figure out what to do with, because I'm not happy with this. I don't know, it just looks so gappy and weird, and yeah. So if you have any colour combinations that you would recommend, please let me know. And I will then reacquaint myself with this pattern in the future, because I really do want to have my chicken tea. These will have the little, what are they? Waddles? Not waddles. Chicken anatomy has gone. The combs and the other things. They have duplicate stitched stuff on afterwards. Yeah. So, frog pond. Okay, I was going to say I feel cleansed, but actually looking at this I think, oh, that's a lot of frogging. That's a lot of winding of wool. But yes, things are looking a bit clearer. I feel a bit better knowing that there are things for the frog pond, and this is good. And I will attempt to do this week. Okay, we have come to an end. I am done. I am done cleansing. I just now need to frog and organise. Yes. How about you? How many whips are lurking in dark, dark places? I'm assuming I'm not alone here. I'm not alone, am I? So thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have been inspired to clean out your whips, or if you have already done so and how you did. And what else do I never remember to say? Yes, I am on Instagram and Ravelry and Coffee as emilykatemadethis, and I have a knit along. Must remember this. I have a knit along going for 2024. So it is the Vintage MAL 2024, and it is a place on Instagram, kind of Ravelry, for vintage knitting projects, sewing projects, crochet, what have you, so we can inspire each other and see our exciting vintage makes. Basically between the 1920s, 1960s, give or take. It's not a place with very strict rules, it's just a nice knit along so we can see each other's projects. So if you have been knitting anything vintage, or crocheting or sewing anything vintage, please do add the hashtag VintageMAL2024, and I will happily see them and share them on my stories and add to my highlights. Okay, I think I managed it all, so I will see you next time. Thanks, bye bye.